It's Ryan with Contractors Garage, and today I'm going to show you how you can swap out your own HVAC filter at your own house. It's only going to take us a few minutes, and it's going to improve air quality, system performance, and overall air flow in your home as well. So join me for a couple minutes, and we'll get it done. Hey guys, we're back in the house, and the first thing I needed to do was I needed to come over to the thermostat and turn it over to the off position. What that's going to do is just turn the unit off. We don't need any airflow competing with us as we're taking the filter cover off. So we access the filter and pull it out. Can do that, but you're just going to be fighting suction, which is really going to be pretty great. So no need to fight that. So just turn off your air or your thermostat first. Okay, guys, so we are in my laundry room closet. This is where the air handler was put when the house was built. It's been in here for 8 years, and generally they've done an okay job of keeping up with it, from what I can tell. This is where the filter is located. There's a couple different ways that these can come on and off. In this application, these slide to the inside, and then they just kind of come out. Like the top slides in, and then it comes down just like that. I'm just trying to do it one-handed. Sometimes instead of these slide bars here on the ends, you might have a screw or like a hex head screw or a Phillips head screw even that can like screw into the sides. So you may need a screwdriver with a nut driver on it, or just a screwdriver with Phillips head or flathead. Either way, that's how to get that off. The next thing is we're just going to be pulling our filter. Um, so as we pull the filter out, again, try to do this one-handed is not always the easiest, but pulling the filter out. All right, guys. So now that I've pulled the filter out, I just wanted to touch on a couple different things. So first, this was in which way? It was in this way, and I know because it has the date on which I put it in the unit itself. It's an easy way just so you can know the last time that you swapped it out. I know I showed you guys already that I took the filter out itself, but I put it back in because I wanted to show you two things. The first thing is that these air filters, they have a directional airflow that you need to pay attention to. And you need to know that when this arrow is pointing up, this is how the airflow is going. So it's sucking from the bottom, going up through here, going through the filter, filtering out the bad particles, and then going on up through your system into your attic and then back out into your house. You need to make sure that when you put your filter back in, that this arrow is pointed up or in the same direction that it was when you put it in, because that means that the air is getting pulled from the opposite side and it needs to filter properly. So that's when you put it in. The other thing I want you to notice is I put my date on here. This is the last time that I swapped it out. It is January here in Florida, but we just did not use our unit very much over the past few months just because it's been so beautiful here. So understanding where you're at, how often you're using it is going to matter as far as how often you're going to swap these units out or these filters out. But honestly, once it hits February, I'm probably doing this once a month without question through August or September. So that's generally where we're at with it personally. A lot of times I have a monthly reminder in my iPhone that tells me, hey, today is the day that you need to do this. I have quite a few of those for regular maintenance stuff in our house, but this is an easy thing to remember. Just set a reminder up in your phone and you won't regret it. All right, so I know I already showed you guys me taking out the filter, but I wanted to point out a couple different things on the unit itself. First is on this filter, there's an arrow, and what that arrow indicates is the directional airflow for the air handler itself. So the airflow is coming up through the bottom, through the filter, and on up through ductwork that's going to go through the attic and kind of just throw the cool air, cool, clean, filtered air throughout the house. So when you're replacing the filter, you need to make sure that the arrow is pointed in the same direction that you pulled this filter out of, because that is important. One other thing that I do is I always write the date on my filter. Do not judge me, it is January, but we just don't really use our HVAC system during the winter time here in Florida, for obvious reasons. It's just not that cold, or it's not that hot. So we hardly use it, and that's why it's been so long. But usually we really do swap it out monthly. I have a reminder on my iPhone. I encourage you to do something similar to that, so that you just can do those monthly, or every other month reminders for the maintenance that you have around your house. One other thing that I wanted to just touch on from a maintenance perspective is right here, and on most units, you're going to have a float switch device that is removable, so that you can clean out these pipes that get gunked up so often. I do this every single time I swap out my filter. I encourage you to get a funnel, and then what I personally use is white distilled vinegar, and I cut it so it's like 50-50 white distilled vinegar and water. And then all I do is pour it in here. You gotta be careful not to overflow, but generally it's gonna suck it up pretty fast. One other thing you can do is you can get on the other end where it comes out of your house, and with a vacuum, a wet vacuum, like a shop vac, not your regular Dyson for your inside of your house, but for a shop vac, and you can suck on the other end of it. And that's going to help encourage suck out any of that sludge or slime gunk buildup in your lines. It's going to help drip faster, the condensation drip line out of the house too. So we do this, like I said, every single time we change a filter, and I just did half a gallon. The last thing I'll say about this float switch area is that if you do not do what I just did and pouring a cleaning solution, sometimes people use bleach. I just prefer not to. I prefer a 50-50 white vinegar mix. It's just less corrosive ultimately. And then if there is a little splash, I'm not really that worried about it. But if you don't do that, eventually your condensation line will fill up with sludge, and then it will back up, and water will come back through these pipes, and it will float this switch right here. That's why it's called a float switch. Once it does that, it will shut your system down. It's a protection mechanism so that you don't get water inside your house and all that kind of stuff, but it also help your system from overheating and ultimately freezing the unit inside here on the coils. All right, guys, so now the next step is just to replace that filter now that we have the float switch back on. And we're sliding our filter back in with the arrow up, the directional airflow, sliding it back in, and it should go in and kind of sit down in there. Again, I wrote my date on there. Next thing, you're just gonna put that cover back on, turn the thermostat back on, and then you're good to go. Guys, that's it. Quick and simple, super easy. Anybody can do this. Your system is going to thank you every time that you swap out your air filter. It's going to allow it to work more efficiently, work less hard. So it's going to save you money, and it's going to extend the life of your air conditioning system, generally speaking. The harder you work, it's just going to break down over time. So go ahead and set a reminder for the first of every month to swap out, or at least check your air filters. You've got pets and dust and allergy, things just floating in the air. So these things work hard. So every single time your unit kicks on, it's catching all that stuff in the air. So do yourself a favor, set that monthly reminder. And if you learned anything today, don't forget to give us a follow at Contractors Garage. If you got any questions or comments, or you just want to at me, put it in the comments below, and appreciate it, guys. Thanks.